Check this out. My buddy Jerry Miller from CB Radio Show and Tell, he sent me this meter. He did some custom artwork on it. Can you see that? He painted it up, he drew on all the flames, and then he clear coated the meter. Well, not the meter, the case of the meter. The problem was, when he hooked it up, he says it doesn't work. He said the watt meter swings backwards and none of the other meters do anything. But he knew, let me move that camera a little so you can see. Let me show you. Let me point this camera up a bit to the shelf. See it up there underneath my Mower Junkie plaque? I have a meter just like it. So, if this meter in fact doesn't work, I can put the painted case, the custom case by CB Radio Show and Tell. I can put their custom paint job on my meter up there. But I'm going to hook this up and I'm going to see just what it does. And maybe we can get this one working. I packed it in a bag. I'm not sure why that's in there, but Jerry, I just got to say thank you for all the shop rags. I needed more rags in my shop, and look at this. Hoo-hoo! I'll have plenty of shop rags for a while. Thank you very much for that. This is almost as important to me as the meter. Alright, let's get the box out of the way. I already have my second Washington set up so that I can just connect this right to it, and we can see just what this thing will do. Now, I don't know if that's going to make it all the way up there or not, but yeah, sure it will. Because the antenna wire that I have there, I'd have to remove it and send it in a different route to get more slack out of it. Had a really snug fit. Let's just put that so the coax doesn't try and pull that off of the radio. Well, the radio will still work with the meter connected. Let's go to AM and go to, oh, we'll try on channel 40, and I'm going to shut that one off just so we don't interfere with it. Now let's see, this is just the radio, so we're going to set it to the 5 watt scale. And yep, the needle goes backwards. Let's try the SWR. We'll set that all the way over, as far over as it'll go. That way that needle should jump up some. And we got nothing. Matter of fact, the SWR meter is also going backwards slightly. Alright, so he was right. There's definitely something wrong with this. Let's open it up and see what we can find. If I can figure out where I left my screwdrivers. Bear with me here, just going to take 4 screws out of this. There's 2 on the top and 2 on the bottom. I don't want to just set that down on the desk, so let me grab just a little felt pad, just so I don't scratch that beautiful paint job on that thing. Almost there, one more to go. Alright. Well, that grommet's already pretty sloppy, so we should be able to slide this right out of here and send that cord right in, because that cord is connected to the meter but runs through the case. So in order to get a look at this, we have to slide that forward. Alright, let's see what we can see. You want to come in closer? You want to get a closer look at that? I would imagine you do. Let's bring you in. I have a visitor. I'm going to see my messy floor for a second. Peoples came to say hi. She's sitting on my shoes. disturb the kitty. What do you think? Can you see from there? Yeah, I think so. Let's shine some light on this subject. I see an issue right off the bat. Oh, right there, right in my face. See that? A wire came unsoldered, and it looks like it goes to right there, to the shield on that line that goes up to the coax connector. Do we see anything else? Everything else looks pretty good. So I'm going to assume that it's that one wire stopping this thing from working. Let's see if we get a little more slack on that line. That's better. I got to be able to get this over to there. Oh, I see. Look at that. It's the shortest wire, so if this gets tugged on, if that wire gets tugged on, that's the one that takes all the stress. Maybe we should solder a longer wire on there. What do you think? Put a longer wire on it? Now, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to move that knot a little further in. But first, let's take this coax. We can actually let this hang down. Oh, look at that. Now we have plenty of slack in that line. Let me pull that line through some more. Let's give a little bit more of this cable to be inside of the box so that it does not pull off from the meters again. There we go. That should work better. Now I need to find my soldering gun. I may take you offline for a second while I solder that. I'll be back in a couple minutes. So I soldered that line back together. Back together in there now. So I'm going to slip this thing back together. Let's pull the slack out of that. Make sure. I'm going to pull that slack back in a little bit. And I have to find some tape. And I don't have much tape around here. I'm going to put, oh, there's duct tape way in the back here. Duct tape will work just fine, just to put an insulator around that so it doesn't short against anything. I have a bunch of rolls of electrical tape and I can't find them for the life of me. But again, this is just to stop this from shorting out. It'll be inside of the meter. Nobody will ever see it. Right? Right. Oh, sticking to itself. Doesn't have to be pretty. It's going to be inside. Just so long as it stays together and it can't short out. Now, let's slide this back together. Actually, pull that slack. Give that a little bit more room inside the meter. Alright. Let's assemble this thing. I know I probably shouldn't put the screws in before trying it, but I'm going to anyway. Because I feel pretty confident that it's going to work now. What do you think? What's your guesses? Will that one ground wire make a huge difference? Back together. Let's put that back so its pretty side is up. I'll turn that Washington back on. We're still on channel 40 on AM, and we're on the 5-watt scale. Let's see what it does. Look at that! It works! 4 watts out of that Washington. This is on the dipole in my attic. Let's see what the SWR meter has to say. Oh, I need to turn off the mic gain. The SWR pot needs to be cleaned. We're showing a 1.3. That SWR meter is working correctly, because that's what that antenna tunes out to. It tunes out to, some meters show 1.2 and all the way up to 1.4, but 1.3 is pretty much the constant. Awesome. Got another working meter. I have a pair of them now. Let's see what the Washington does on sideband. I put it up to the 50-watt scale. Oh, I still have the mic gain turned down from checking the SWR. Alright, it went up to the number 1. So it's doing, hey, number 1 from number 1. Doing about 10 watts. The number 1 thing, that's Jerry Miller's numbers that he uses on sideband. He's number 1 in Michigan. So check it out, Jerry. It actually works. It just needed a little bit of soldering, and we have put it back to the 5-watt. I put the radio back on AM. Look at that. The watt meter works fine. The SWR meter works fine. The only one I didn't check yet is the modulation. There's no noise in the room right now, so just checking the modulation on this old Washington. Look at that. Well over 100%. There we go. Nice. All right. Sorry to bother anybody. Broadcasting. The whole thing works. Isn't that awesome? Look at that. Oh, the modulation's staying up. I think that mic might be turned up a little too high. Oh, you know what? It's not. I forgot to switch it to modulation. Let me try that again. Oh, look, that's more reasonable. All right. So we get in roughly 65 peaks on talking. Let me give a whistle. With a whistle, it'll go to 100. But I'm only using the stock Uniden mic on that. That's upside down. See it? With a power mic, I know that Washington is loud. But with the stock mic, we're peaking at about, oh, right there, it went way up. There we go. We're hitting almost 80 there. What do you think? Want to try a power mic in that Washington while we're right here? Let's give it a shot. We'll grab the old Cobra, because it's wired 5-pin. Washington, this is the Uniden Washington, so they have the 5-pin, unlike the President Washington that had a 4-pin. Receive got a little quieter. Has anybody else ever noticed that? Sometimes the sound of the receive changes a little when you change mics. I've researched it and haven't completely figured out why yet. Someday maybe. Alright, testing it again. Look at that. With regular audio, we're hitting almost 100% there every time with the power mic. Alright, I guess that's it for this video. I thank you very much, Jerry Miller. I had to do a slight bit of work, I mean just a little bit, and it works again. I now have a pair of these. These can live, one can be in here and one can be out in my garage. So I can have my watt, modulation, and SWR meters on both radios at all times. Alright, that's it for now. Thanks again, Jerry. I'll see you next time.